Terrence can join us. So there we go.
Live. We need to fix that.
We're live.
We need to fix that.
You might be able to-
that lighting.
Yeah, you might be able to hear us. You can't see us. So we're live from the Witness Protection Program
How do you fix this?
at Insurtech Connect. That's a little better.
So how do you do that?
I
How
don't
do
know.
we keep it like that?
You can see that.
Don't move.
Eating.
Oh, you moved.
I move.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so the lighting's not good. We'll fix that.
I wonder if anybody can hear us though. You're pretty sure they can hear us?
I'm pretty sure they'll be able to hear us.
Okay.
So just talk loud.
So here we
So,
are.
Taryn Haas, Tony Cañas, Nick Lamparelli.
Nick mansplaining instead of letting Taryn introduce herself. We're working on him. He's got a chalk collar. We're working on him.
So we're in Hartford, Connecticut at the Hartford Insurtech Symposium, and we'll be live streaming this afternoon for bits and pieces. For those that watched the live streaming last week in Boston,
Trying to get the light to change.
we're new to this.
There we go.
We're new to this, so
As long as I'm really
bear
close
with
to the
us.
camera, then it does the exposure correctly.
So this is the Tony show.
I told you to sit in the middle. I want this to be known. I offered Tara a middle seat so she could lead, and she's like, no, you just sit in the middle. So I did. So that's why it's a Tony
you're
show.
crowding her out.
I said, why don't you sit in the middle? I did not,
Oh.
and you took that as a directive.
I'm in my personal life. I am used to taking women.
So how have you guys found the car?
Taryn, what do you think?
Yeah, really great.
Insurtech Hartford.
Yeah, I sat in on 2 sessions so far. Both of them addressed a lot of really interesting information. The last one was on IoT devices, so Internet of Things.
Okay. IoT like.
Like Alexa, water sensors.
Oh, really? Was that the one with Pankaj on that? It was not. He's here. So what they say about water sensors? That's like my thing now.
Well, they said there are a lot of them, and that would differentiate some over others would be how they engage customers. So I thought that was kind of interesting.
How does a water sensor engage the customer?
No, the insurance company.
Or
The customer buys the water sensor.
Uh-huh.
The data goes to the insurance company.
they want customer interaction. That's what they were saying. They were
With
saying
the water
that-
sensor.
With the they didn't say water sensor in particular, but they said like how is it gonna update the customer, allow them to go into an app and like see how much water or something, or I don't know what they want exactly,
Okay.
but they definitely wanted something more on the customer end, which
Okay.
I thought was interesting. That it's not just about how it can help the carriers underwrite or give them discounts or anything. It's actually how can we keep the customer engaged so that this is not so much of we talk at renewal, initial writing of the risk, renewal, and then a claim potentially. So it's creating more touch points.
So they're very much addressing the question that you brought up years ago in your original article about IoT, where your argument was IoT makes sense, but who's going to pay for it, right?
Yep.
Because it makes sense for both, but for both the carrier and the insured.
Right.
But it'd be too expensive for the carrier to just give one to everybody, and the insured, in exchange for a small discount, will probably never do it.
Right. So for the insured standpoint, they would want to know, if I buy this, am I getting some sort of discount on my insurance? And so now, but the incentive technically or theoretically is there for both to want the devices installed.
Okay.
Yeah.
It makes sense. So that was a good session.
Yes.
Okay. I went into the he said, she said.
Yes.
And I watched
Explain
like
that.
10 minutes of it.
Yeah.
So I believe, and I was kind of in the middle of it, not at the beginning, but I believe that it was a bit of an improv session where one side played the Insurtechs and the other side played the carriers. and they kind of like, in a comedic way, explained why the two sides have trouble seeing eye to eye with each other, and it was really funny. It was really, 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 really funny. And I think that very much a very needed, lighthearted view of that relationship. Right?
Yes.
We have a whole book about that relationship. Right? Rob's book is very much about that relationship. But this was very much so. So like when I walked in, Bob Frady with Hazard Hub was joking about how, like, I need a sell today, right? Like my house is on the line, right? Unless I sign you guys today. Out of the carrier side, the carrier people are like, well, we like what we see. How about we meet 3 months from now? And then they spent 20 minutes discussing calendars and how how there's no date in the next 3 months where all of them can be there.
Yeah.
And then one of them, it was really funny. One of them got up and said, "Oh, I've got another meeting. I'm sorry," and she left the stage, and the other two were like, "Well, we've lost the decision maker."
Yeah.
So until we can get back on her schedule next year, nothing can happen. So anyway, it was. It was and Bob's side, the Insurtech side, was like, we are running out of runway here by the second. Like, if you want us to still exist by the next meeting,
Yeah.
it was very good. It was very good.
Which is so true.
Exactly. And we all know that the sales cycle into the carrier world is, I think Bobby put it, a year and a half, best case scenario.
Yeah. So I was, so before we went live streamed, I was on a 3-hour call, and it sort of ended that way, except that it was good news for the carrier because they said, well, what's your time frame on this? And we were like, well, it's probably going to take months. And they were like, oh, okay, good. They were like, oh, relieved that it's going to take months.
We have Bobby and Brent from Kiva.
We're live streaming.
We're live streaming if you want to join.
I'm going to bump out the Insurance Nerds team.
Don't make me. Don't make
Come on over.
Wow, we're special.
Now, we have a technologist here, someone that understands tech. How do we fix the lighting on this webcam?
It just did. See, that's what I do.
That's what I do.
That's what you do. It's that black leather jacket. So fantastic. Welcome to Hartford.
Yeah,
Good to have you here.
yeah.
Yes.
I heard you
Have
were
the whole
coming.
team of insurance.
That's awesome.
The whole team is here.
That's
So, you guys just came from He Said, She Said?
Yeah,
Good.
it was a funny
That
skit.
was a funny skit.
We go to these conferences all the time, and when you go and listen to the content, it seems like a lot of the conferences, the content is exactly the same. I saw it last week at ITC, and now I'm seeing it this week at whatever other conference. But this one, they did it a little differently. They did it as almost like a skit where they, kind of acted it out, and it was hilarious. The stuff that they were
There
saying
needs to
is
be
so
more
funny.
of that. There needs
Yeah.
to be more role playing
Yeah.
and interaction to kind of break down, I don't know, maybe the politeness of, scheduling meetings and kind of going through a process where everyone's kind of afraid to speak up
Yeah,
or say something negative. I like these sort of things because from what I heard from Tony, a lot of it was like, I guess Bob Frady was kind of pointing out like, hey, we're running out of money.
yeah,
And the carrier's like, okay, well, we'll meet you next year. He's
yeah.
like, no, you don't understand. We won't be around next year.
Yeah.
Like that kind of thing, which is so important, like to understand where each side is coming from. And I liked what, I can't remember the last conversation we had. I don't know if it was private, whether we recorded or not, but you had said how when you met with some company, you were like, let's talk about your procurement process.
Yeah.
Because if we don't have the luxury of going through your standard procurement process. So if you're serious about engaging Insurtech, how are you going to change your procurement process to engage with us?
Yeah.
And that's so important to understand or to get that commitment. And I think it's part of your sales background. You're not afraid to bring that up. I think most Insurtechs would be
Or shy
afraid to
away
say,
from it.
we need you to change something that's very important to you. But you found out it wasn't that important. It was just sort of like, this is just kind of how we do it. Sure, we'll change it.
Yeah, yeah, solving a real problem. I think that's the issue. Is a lot of technology companies, insurtechs, fintechs, whatever you want to call them. A lot of them go and build a product, and then they go look for a problem to solve with it. And that's where you're going to the carrier and you're saying, man, I think you have this problem that we can solve, right? But when you do it the other way around, where you do the research first and identify the problems, then build the technology to solve that problem. Now when you're going to the carrier, you're saying, I know you have the problem because I've gone through your processes and I have the solution now. So now it almost gives you, for lack of a better term, not necessarily the right to ask them to change their process, but at least it gives you the ability to say, hey, you may need to look at this process. Because I get asked all the time, how do carriers work with insurtechs? And this is where this conversation comes from. I answer that question with a question. Do you have a separate procurement process for insurtechs?
Yeah.
Because we can't go through a 12 to 18-month process. We just simply can't. So one of two things is going to happen. Either A, the insurtech will try to go through your process and they will die on the vine, right? And then they can't help anybody, right? So everybody loses, right? Or B, they identify your company as a non-innovative company and they move on to someone else, right? So now that carrier is playing catch up to all the others.
Yeah.
So it's just one of those things that if you're looking at it from an innovative standpoint, you can't continue to do business like you've always done it in the past.
Right. It's probably one of the things. I think we transitioned to Insurtech 2.0.
I love it.
Is the pushback.
Yeah.
Is okay. We've now seen that happen so often where these companies die on the vine.
Good solutions.
It's not enough to just say insurance carriers need to change. It's like, here's specifically how you need to change.
Exactly.
This is one thing. Like, you have to end or amend this specific process. And it's like the one that you were working with, they were amenable to it. It was like they weren't actually married to this process. It was just, this is just how we do it, and sure, we'll change.
But it takes maturity and experience to ask those questions, because if you've never worked in a big corporation, you can't empathize. You don't even know what a procurement process looks like until you've gone through one yourself. So I think that's the Insurtech 2.0. You're seeing a lot of mature professionals entering and solving problems, and it's so important to have the right team makeup, because if you've never lived through those problems, you can't look eye to eye to the carrier and say your process, because you've never gone through it.
Yeah, I guess I come from a position of privilege working for a carrier.
Exactly.
I've been the champion on the other side and had to struggle with this solution that I brought in and just kind of watch them get churned through. And I'm sorry, there's nothing I can do to help you. I've gotten you as far as I can. And now that I'm not in the carrier world, it's like, I know. I know what it's like. And it's like, so when I see Insurtech, it's like, have you even contemplated how you're going to solve this problem? Your biggest challenge is not your solution. Your biggest challenge is how are you going to sell your solution?
Tech is oftentimes not the hurdle. It's all the change management processes that is going to undertake to say, here's a cool piece of technology, and how are you going to use it in your enterprise?
Yeah.
And that's just it's a skill. Right?
Yeah. So, Hartford, Connecticut. What
Love
do you do?
it.
What do you do
Love
for
it.
fun?
Oh,
We're taking you.
We're
and
taking
the
you.
nerds.
Yes.
Tonight?
Yes.
Yes.
You gonna show us around?
So there's one place that every time I come to Hartford, I go. I will not come to Hartford and not stop at this place.
Are you gonna take me to a Whalers game?
No.
Oh wait, they don't even exist anymore.
It's a bar. I mean, it's a bar.
City
Bar.
Street.
Okay.
So we go to City Steam Brewery, every time we come here. It's
Is that
great
related to
atmosphere.
Hartford steam boiler?
I don't know. It's in an old building.
It has good beer.
It is.
It has good meals,
Yeah.
good
Okay.
cocktails.
Great people. We go there every time. Every
Okay.
time we come to Hartford, we stop in there.
Well, I'm not going to hold you to live streaming with me, so we keep. I'm going to figure out this lighting now.
There.
There we go.
There we go.
Enjoy the rest of your afternoon. I will. We'll see you at Steam.
Sounds good.
Okay. Awesome. Jake, come on over.
I think if you move your computer a little bit forward, it may work.
What's the issue? It's dark, or
It's dark. Let's see. So far, it solved it. No, it got dark again.
Just need my hat.
what's the?
No. Oh, yes. Yes. We're live streaming.
Is this live right now?
Hi. Give me a few minutes and I'll come right over. Okay. Okay, right after that. Okay. So that's what happens when you live stream.
Yeah.
You get interrupted.
Things happen.
I guess we take for granted this whole.
This feels like an anonymous whistleblower thing.
That's what Tony said.
I feel like
Maybe we should
can
get
you distort
closer.
our voices
Here we go.
and we'll tell the real story.
So, Hartford, Connecticut. Have you been here before?
I grew up about 20 miles east of here.
Where?
Storrs, Connecticut.
Oh.
Yeah.
Did you go to Yukon?
No, but
Is that a tough decision?
no, because I had already by the end of high school I'd alienated like everyone in the town, so it was like they insisted that I get out as quickly as possible. Part of a consent decree, the judge,
I heard there's nothing to do in stores.
Well, yeah. There's So Hartford was the big city that we'd come to, go shop at like cheap box. I remember buying vinyl records.
Okay, so wait a second. How did you grow up here and not be a Bruins fan?
So we moved here when I was 9, and so I brought my St. Louis sports fan stuff with me. So I was a Whalers ultimately. I was a Blues guy, but would go to Whalers games.
I miss the Whalers.
You missed or you do miss?
I miss
Yeah.
the Whalers. I miss having a team in Hartford. I'm sure they're doing just fine down in Carolina,
Yeah.
but
They won the Stanley Cup like right after they left.
yeah, they did.
Big F you.
Glenn Wesley,
Yeah,
who was on the Bruins and didn't win a Stanley Cup, went to the Whalers and then went down to Carolina.
It's a
and won
big middle
Stanley Cup.
finger to New England.
Yeah. Which is a shame. Great logo. There was a period of time when the Bruins were really good, and the tickets were difficult to get. So if you were a Bruins fan, you just come down to Hartford and watch the Bruins here because there'd be plenty of tickets.
Plenty of great seats available. I once won a case of motor oil, and they threw in some Whalers tickets. I bought like some oil at an auto parts store, and they had a drawing, so I threw my name in. I got a call like a week later. Hey, you want a case of motor oil?
Yeah.
And some Whalers tickets.
So
I went.
And you were like, can I return the motor oil?
I know. I love the Whalers. They were fun. Like you said, great seats at very reasonable prices.
Yeah.
So Hartford is, I was amazed driving in, see some beautiful new buildings, and I always loved the boat building.
Yes, Nassau Re.
has, and so it's nice to be back here. It's been a little while for me.
Yeah. We were expecting on the drive down the colors to be better since Hartford's a little more south. But as we got into Connecticut, the colors got worse and there were fewer leaves on trees. So unfortunately, I think you have to go to New Jersey now. And who wants to go there? So I won't take you. I'm going to end for the one person that's watching or others that have watched.
Is that us?
No, I think it's Micah. If that's Micah, talk in the chat. I'm going to end this version, kick it up again. I'm going to fix this webcam, and I see Stephen Goldstein. I see Amber.
Some good people here.
There are people here. There are a lot
Serious
of
people watching.
A lot of people that we know, and they're here. So we'll drag this in. So watch for the new link. Unfortunately, I can't just pause this. I'll have to send out a new link. So
Sounds good, man.
Good luck.
Good luck fixing this.
Thanks. Okay, end of stream. Fucking webcam.